Alright, I'm going to take you through how to design an interior space. Now I have some textures here that I'll use for wood parts and the walls and whatnot. But the most important part is going to be the lines that you use. Okay. Now when creating a house or an interior space, you got to have rooms. The easiest way to make this interior space is by using one-point perspective. And so I made a new layer here with Control-Shift-N, or you can click the little button here. And I'm going to start with my brush, and I'm going to click once, and I get this dot. Now I'm going to extend this dot to all the corners on my page. To do that, I click once on that dot, hold Shift on the keyboard, and then click in the corner, and it draws that line, a straight line. Click on the point, hold Shift, click in the corner. Click on the point, hold Shift, click in the corner. Hold Shift, click on the point, hold Shift, and click in the corner. Okay? Now I have my one-point perspective, my lines showing distance. Now I'm going to create kind of the back wall of the room. So I click and hold, then I hold Shift, and I'm going to make a straight line. And then where that line crosses that other line, I hold Shift, and I drag it across. Click, hold, and then hold Shift, go straight up. And where that line crosses, click and hold, and then hold Shift and go across. Okay? And that gives me the back wall for my room as well as where the walls are. And I can go ahead and erase out some of these extraneous lines here that I don't really need. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these areas with different pieces. So this flooring piece, where I looked up wood texture, I can do Control-T on the keyboard, and I'm going to bring it to the bottom, and I hold Control on the keyboard. And as I'm holding Control, it allows me to move just one corner at a time to the corners here. And what's awesome is it now looks like it's perfectly flat going back into the space. Isn't that cool? Alright, now I'm going to do the same thing with my wall texture. I'm going to do Control-T, do the left wall first, and I'm going to hold Control and bring these points over to here, like so. And I probably should have made a duplicate of my flat layer, but I'm going to kind of make this work. No, that's not going to work. Okay. Going to try again. Okay. So I'm going to take my wall texture, and I'm going to Control-J, and now Control-T, and fit it to the corners there. And Control-J, Control-T. Hold Control and move it around. Okay, go back to my original wall texture, Control-J, Control-T. I'm going to bring this up to the top here. Stretch it out. And hold Control on the keyboard so I can adjust those individual points so I get some ceiling. And then Control-T on that last piece to make the back wall like so. So now if I turn off my lines, I have this. And I might need to adjust some of my layers a little bit so that it completely fills the space. Like that. Okay? Now this is not bad. I can add a little extra detail by adding some shadow in the corners. I'm going to click on the left side and use the burn tool, but I'm going to set the exposure kind of low, so right around 15% there. I'm going to use a big old brush, make sure it's soft, and I'm going to go over kind of the corner areas of each wall, because in the corners of every wall, there's a little bit of shadow. Okay, the light doesn't hit it all the same. So I'm going to just kind of shadow the corners with a little bit of using this burn tool and setting the exposure down. Okay, now I can go ahead and add my foreground, middle ground, and background elements. I could cut a window in there. And if I wanted to do that, I'm going to go back to my lines layer and click and hold Shift as I kind of drag along. And if I want to make a diagonal line, I'm actually going to go click in the center dot and click Shift, and then I'm going to try and extend that line across the wall. And it's a little bit of a guessing game. There we go. Try and get it to hit all those points. And so I'm going to extend some lines from the center point by clicking, holding Shift, and clicking outward, and clicking and holding Shift and dragging so that I create some perfectly vertical lines. And then I'm going to go and cut these lines out using the polygon lasso tool. So on this wall, I'm going to cut here. And that's going to become a window. And along the back wall, this will become a door. And over here, this will become another window. And now I can use the different textures, cut them, and fit them into places, so I can put like a table in there, all sorts of other things. If you have more questions about how to use one-point perspective, don't hesitate to ask me a question. But I hope this gets you started if you're using, creating an interior space.